Hello everyone, we are at Memorial University. I am Dhruv Patel along with Shivam Parmar. We are going to represent research study on fossil fuel consumption, renewable generation and government's role in mitigating GHG emission of Bikaner and Kutch. The presentation is carried out for the course Energy and the Environment, which is ENGI 9855 and supervised by Dr. Maha Puri. Here in the table of content, we are going to represent objective of our study. After that, introduction will be discussed. The case of Bikaner, which is located in the Rajasthan state, which will be discussed by me, Dhruv Patel, and the another region, which is Kutch, located in Gujarat, will be discussed by one of my teammates. Coal has been the primary energy source which is non-renewable and harmful to the environment. India has 9.3% of world's coal reserve, and because of that it is considered a driving force for the Indian economy. We have selected here two regions for our study that depends on coal for its power demand. Around 95% of electricity has been produced by burning coal in this region in 2010. Moreover, geological and irradiation data shows great potential for solar and wind energy utilization in this region. Since 2014, renewable energy generation in India has grown significantly with more than 90,000 gigaton of renewable energy installed in various parts of the country, primarily in the western part, and observed a reduction in net pollution emission. Bikaner is a district located in the western state of Rajasthan having a population of more than 650,000. Bikaner is considered an urban area according to municipal, however still around 45% of its area comes under rural distribution. Basically, some area of Bikaner does not getting electricity and many urban facilities. Also, district has overall utilization of 2310 terajoule of annual energy with a huge per capita of 3.6 gigajoule per head. As a result of this, utilization of energy at industrial, residential and energy sector contributed 173.98 tons of CO2 equivalent in year 2013, which is accounted as 0.270 tons of CO2 per head. Here we will discuss total three major sectors for utilization of electricity and emission by the consumption of carbon fuel. The region uses different kind of fossil fuel that includes coal, oil, kerosene, LPG and wood products. There are two fossil fuel power plants in Bikaner which are listed in the table. They both combinedly uses 10 terajoule equivalent of coal in the plant. 1 terajoule is equivalent 34.12 tons of coal. Close to 675 terajoule of electricity is being generated in the region by a combination of different power plants and renewable sector, which results in GHG production by the use of coal and oil. Such a huge amount of coal combustion turned into 967 tons of CO2 equivalent in the year 2013. In India, majority of residential and commercial cooking makes use of LPG, and the same is here in the case of Bikaner. Also, for water heating purpose, people use LPG and wood burning in the open atmosphere. We can observe in the graph that more than 2000 terajoule of energy is consumed by residential sector, which is subdivided into different carbon fuels. LPG is highest being utilized for cooking and water heating purpose. However, commercial sector only uses 265 terajoule of energy with significant consumption of electricity. Consumption of coal and kerosene is controlled by the state government because of higher global warming potential. Also, wood is very cheap in the village and lack of technological advancement in rural area is the reason behind higher use. Greater use of fossil fuel at residential and commercial site has resulted in huge figures of GHG emissions. Residential sector has generated more than 0.12 million tons of CO2 equivalent gases, while commercial site has comparatively low figures at 4.5 thousand tons of CO2 equivalent. The reason behind such huge figure is that usage of LPG and wooden products at home for various purposes which contribute direct emission to the atmosphere without any filtration or carbon capture. Agricultural usage and emission in the district of Bikaner include livestock, land and aggregate resources. These waste are divided into inorganic and organic types of waste. Plastic, wood and paper product contributes more in GHG gases that comes from wastage. As we can see, food is leading waste with 28,000 tons of waste that would ultimately turn into methane or any other GHG gas under decomposition. There are some landfill areas in the Bikaner that contribute approximately 40,000 tons of CO2 equivalent in the environment. Bikaner does not have any big river around the region. Because of that, there is a less potential for hydropower in the region. The western part of Rajasthan receives a large amount of solar radiation. Bikaner is considered as a solar hub of the state as having the largest number of individual solar plants. The government is establishing new mega plants in empty lands all around the state and planning to supply solar grid connection to major cities including Bikaner. Here in the slide we have mentioned 4 mega solar plants that is being constructed right now and planning to provide a grid connection. Bikaner plays a major role in providing solar grid connection. There are also some private plants operated by industrial and commercial companies in the region. The table shown here enlists the plant with their capacity, location, and date of commissioning. Wind energy is a combined effect of several phenomena such as Earth's rotation, solar energy, ocean cooling effect, and temperature gradient between land and sea. The state ranks fifth in the country with a total capacity of more than 4,000 megawatt wind power in 1920 to 2020. Unfortunately, the selected region does not have any installed wind generation. However, the project of 150 megawatt is being constructed by Kimisa Wind Turbine Private Limited, which is a local company of Bikaner in the central part of the Bikaner. Before moving to mitigation method, I would like to describe major reason behind the increase in GHG emission. Bikaner's energy sector is a primary contributor of GHG emission. The major power of Bikaner city and its surrounding location is generated from coal-fired power plants since 90s. Another major source of GHGs is transportation sector. There has been a rise in average number of cars or two-wheelers owned by a household in the last few years. One reason behind that is lack of reliable public transport. Along with that, another reason behind surge in emission is increase in industrial area, which includes cement factories and metal casting and forging industries. Mitigation method establishing policies which help for adaptation and limitation of GHGs. The Rajasthan Solar Energy Policy was initiated in 2014 and then a new policy went into force with improved mitigation goal in 2019. There are 4 goals to be achieved under this policy which are listed in the slide. Under this policy, government provided 30% of total funding for rooftop solar plants. All household and small private companies can take benefit for these subsidies to install solar panels on rooftops. All the house solar plants are on grid and excess electricity is sold to the grid, reducing electricity generation by coal plant and therefore reducing emission. Government is trying their best to reduce emission in transportation sector. The project related to the transportation sector function in two directions. Firstly, providing an efficient means of public transport, and secondly, electrification of transportation sector. The state government is gathering fund from the central government for electrical buses for small distance public commute. They also promote use of two-wheelers, which is less polluted compared to cars and electronic vehicles. Bikaner connects major transport locations such as Jaisalmer, Delhi, Ajmer, Ganganagar, and many other locations in Punjab. The state authorities are trying to make Bikaner as a charging station for such routes. That was everything for the first region, Bikaner. Thank you so much for your time.
Now in the case of Kutch, Kutch district is located in the western part of Gujarat. Its total population is 2.09 million, out of which 65% of the population lives in rural areas. As per the data portal for cities, in 2013, the district's overall utilization was 118 terajoule with a huge per capita of 3.09 gigajoule. In addition to this, the industrial, residential and energy sectors contributed 118,000 tons of CO2 equivalent to the atmosphere, which equates to 0.245 tons per capita in terms of CO2 equivalent emissions. Fossil fuel usage and GHG emission. The district has 4 thermal power plants, out of which three thermal power plants use lignite coal as a feedstock. And the lignite coal is extracted from Pandoro mines in Kutch. And the Mundra Mega Power Project plant uses subbituminous coal, which is imported from Indonesia. This plant is the highest capacity in the district. Now in the residential and commercial sector, LPG is the most used fuel with a 548 terajoule in total. LPG is cleaner fossil fuel than wood products because it emits less CO2 emissions to the atmosphere. Both wood and LPG used for cooking and water heating. The total usage of LPG emitted around 334,000 tons of CO2 equivalent. As we can see in the figure, the energy consumptions of residential building was almost 5 times than of commercial buildings. And the GHG emission was residential buildings was almost 12 times of commercial buildings. Now in the agricultural and industrial waste, glass, metal, plastic and rubber are considered as inorganic wastes, and textile, wood and straw, paper and boards and food are considered as organic wastes. Food, paper and wood are major waste products. The food wastage of Kutch was 14,664 tons, which is almost half compared to Bikaner's food waste. And all the wastes are end up in landfills. The emissions by landfills in the Kutch was 21,000 tons of CO2 equivalent, which is also almost half of Bikaner's landfill emissions. Now in the renewable sector, the Kutch district has a total desert area of 27,000 km square, which has great potential for solar energy generation in the region. The Kutch is considered as the solar hub for Gujarat state. The total installed capacity of solar energy in the district was 120 megawatt. In the table, we can see the different solar power plants in the district. In 2012, Government of Gujarat installed solar panels on a 750-meter stretch of 458-kilometer long Narmada Canal. It was India's first 1 megawatt canal top solar power project. And the solar panels is also preventing the evaporation of 9 million liters of water each year. Now in the wind energy generation, the total wind energy generation capacity of the Kutch district is 620 megawatts. In the table, we can see the list of wind energy farms in the district. The Bhuj wind power project is a 258 megawatt onshore wind project which is waiting for its approval. Adani New Industries Limited has installed a 200 meter tall wind turbine, and the capacity of the wind turbine is 5.2 megawatts, which is the India's largest wind turbine generator that can power almost 4,000 houses. We can see the description of the turbine in the slide. Government of India is constructing the world's largest renewable energy park in Kutch. After completion, the plant is estimated to generate 30 gigawatts of electricity. The energy park will utilize 726 kilometers square of wasteland. Park will have two zones. One zone generate electricity through solar and the other zone wind generate electricity through wind. We can see the description of power capacity and the developers in the table. Mitigation methods to reduce GHG emissions. The Government of India introduced the solar rooftop scheme. In this scheme, the government encouraged industries and residents to install solar systems to their houses. And the government also provided subsidies of up to 30% for a 3 kilowatt system and 40% for the subsequent 3 kilowatt to 10 kilowatt systems. Gujarat has totaled 1,167 megawatt of rooftop solar capacity in residential building. This is about 84% of the nation's total installed solar rooftop capacity. And between 2017 and 18, net installed capacity increased to 98 megawatts. This can reduce GHG emission of 0.113 megatons of CO2 equivalent. In the table, we can see installed capacity and the respected estimated CO2 emission reduction of industry, commercial and residential sectors. As we can see from 2017 to 18, there was a huge increase in installed capacity in industrial sector. In 2012, Government of India also introduced Perform, Achieve and Trade scheme. Under this scheme, 400 energy-intensive industries cut their energy usage by 5.3% over the first part scheme cycle from 2012 to 2015, and out of which 37 industries were in Gujarat. The table shows different industrial sectors which was under this scheme. As we know, compared to coal, natural gas produces almost half of CO2 emissions, but shifting from coal to natural gas is challenging due to natural gas has less infrastructure. To tackle this problem, the government introduced the LNG terminal policy that will increase infrastructure and expand the natural gas market to provide clean and cheap fuel for industrial purposes.
Concluding negative side of both the regions, in both the selected area, Bikaner and Kutch, most of the population lives in rural area. Thermal power plants have a major share in energy generation by fossil fuel in both regions, emitting significant amount of CO2. In residential sector, LPG and wood are most widely used fuel for cooking and water heating. Food wastage is a critical problem in both the areas with higher amount of food wastage. In the positive side, Bikaner and Kutch have desert area, so there is excellent solar and wind generation capacity. Bikaner and Kutch's solar energy generation capacity is 10.8 and 120 megawatt respectively, while Kutch's wind generation capacity is 120 megawatt. Kutch district is India's largest wind power generator. The government has initiated several policies in both the region to reduce GHG emission. The government is also providing subsidy for rooftop solar system and also building infrastructure for CNG and natural gas under the LNG terminal scheme. That was everything, and thank you for your time.